Hey guys, today I'll show you a zombie horror thriller film named E-Sarn Zombie. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie tells about the peepa ghost, which the local people believed would crawl into a person's stomach, gnawing on their heart and soul, consuming their very essence. Once someone was possessed by a peepa ghost, it would bring endless misfortune to the village. In northern Thailand, there is also mention of the peepa ghost, and the mother of the protagonist, Tonnun, suddenly becomes mentally ill, craving raw meat. The villagers believe she has turned into a peepa ghost, and as a result, they drive Tonnun's family out of the village. Left with no other choice, her father takes his wife and daughter to live in a dilapidated temple, where he shaves his head and becomes a monk, surviving on meager offerings. Although he has joined the Buddhist faith, he doesn't believe in the peepa ghosts, instead thinking his wife has a rare illness. For years, he secretly works on finding a cure. Over time, more than 10 peepa ghosts are taken in by the temple, and Tonnun grows into a graceful, sexy young woman. One day, she goes to work at the local supermarket as usual, exhausted after a long day of labor. It's time to clock out, and she skillfully ties some expired pork to her body, tricking the security guard. Just as she's about to ride her scooter home, she's stopped by the new manager. Tonnun looks guilty, but the manager doesn't notice her secret. He only wants a ride into town. On the way, the manager, being new to the area, enjoys the scenic countryside, while Tonnun, preoccupied with her thoughts, doesn't notice the rough, bumpy road ahead. The scooter wobbles with the bumps, and the two of them shake violently, with Tonnun almost dropping the expired pork several times. Fortunately, her luck holds out, and they manage to navigate the road without further incident. But then, a frog suddenly jumps out, causing Tonnun to slam on the brakes. The expired meat falls onto the ground with a thud, exposing her theft of company property. Shocked, the manager demands an explanation. Tonnun confidently states that the expired meat was going to be thrown away anyway, so why not let the employees have it? While the manager thinks her argument makes sense, he still has to follow company rules and gives her a formal reprimand. To improve safety, the supermarket installs surveillance cameras and mandates that employees destroy expired meat in front of the cameras. Tonnun is furious as she watches perfectly fresh pork being soaked in toilet cleaner. Now no one else can pocket a little extra. Only the secretary seems pleased because the guy who installed the cameras has a great physique and his low-waisted pants are just enough to get his attention. From then on, Tonnun spends her own money buying raw meat for the peepa ghosts, quickly running out of savings. However, the gravedigger brings in a new person, a sidekick man who supposedly ate all the village's offerings and was chased out by the villagers. With nowhere else to go, he arrives at the temple. Tonnun is troubled by the thought of another mouth to feed. One evening, the manager hosts a barbecue for the entire staff, where everyone can eat as much as they want but cannot take any leftovers. Through this event, Tonnun's opinion of the manager improves, and he begins to like her too, impressed by her dedication and hard-working nature. With the help of the flower girl, the manager plans to confess to Tonnun while drunk. The first rose is for an apology, the second for a wish, hoping Tonnun will continue to study and find a better job in the future. But the third rose, which symbolizes love, is never given. The next morning, a colleague working the supermarket's live stream receives internal news that a big eating streamer is selling pork online. Actually, the pork that has been soaked in toilet cleaner. Consumers, unaware, think the meat is tender and delicious. Upon hearing this, Tonnun rushes to the temple with a large bag of meat, having cleaned off the disinfectant. She places it in front of the peepa ghosts, and seeing them eat it eagerly, she happily closes the door. Just as she exits, she bumps into the manager. He has already figured out that she stole the expired meat and mistakenly believes she's been selling it to others. When the manager confronts her, Tonnun stays silent. Little does she know that the peepa ghosts inside the room have consumed the expired meat and transformed into zombies, now gnawing at each other. Hearing strange noises, Tonnun opens the door, and the sidekick man suddenly lunges out at her. It seems that unlike the others, the sidekick man doesn't like raw meat and hasn't been infected. He quickly escapes. The zombies that poured out of the building didn't notice Tonnun and the manager hiding near the door. Instead, they pounced on the gravedigger, gnawing at him. Tonnun rushed into the room and found that her mother had also turned into a zombie. Tears streamed down her face as she felt completely powerless. Fortunately, her father arrived just in time and held her mother tightly, attempting to have a zombie baby with her. As Tonnun was being dragged out of the door by the manager, her father was bitten on the shoulder, and he desperately shut the wooden door behind them. It was too late to turn back now. They should have gone to safety immediately, but Tonnun couldn't stop crying. Her sobs even attracted the newly mutated gravedigger. As the two of them were frozen with fear, the loudspeaker came on. The zombies were highly sensitive to sound, and to their surprise, they abandoned the fresh meat they were about to devour and instead headed towards the square where the broadcast was playing. At this moment, the village chief's son, Chubby, was hosting a monk ordination ceremony in the square. It was meant to be a simple religious affair, but it turned into a star-studded event with a whole bunch of celebrities attending. Chubby passionately kicked off the ceremony with a performance of a classic song by a singer, completely unaware that the backstage area had already been overrun by zombies. Strangely enough, when the zombies heard the singer's TikTok music, they started dancing in TikTok style. But as soon as the music stopped, they went back to attacking humans. Tonnun and the manager quickly realized the zombies' weakness, so they ran to the side of the stage and urged Chubby to keep playing and dancing. However, the village chief insisted on taking payment before allowing any songs to be played. By the planned sequence, the next performer was a popular idol who had been doing both singing and dancing for 2.5 years. Just as he opened the door of his van, he was swarmed by a horde of zombies who wanted to have many zombie babies with him. It wasn't until he was gnawed down to the bone that he realized these weren't fans, they were zombies. The idol never made it on stage. The zombie backup dancers couldn't wait any longer and rushed up to the stage. As soon as the music started, the zombies danced to the beat. The scene was bizarre but exhilarating. The audience was so captivated by the zombies' performance that they couldn't hear Tonnun and the manager trying to warn them. After the music ended, the zombies rushed off the stage to feast, and the audience finally realized the gravity of the situation. In the chaos, the village chief, an old Taoist, jumped into a car with his son, quickly rolling up the windows. Chubby couldn't close his window in time, and a zombie grabbed him tightly. The village chief grabbed a wrench and fiercely struck the zombie's head, flooring the gas pedal as they sped off. Unknowingly, the sky had turned dark. On the way, the village chief and his son ran into Tonnun and the manager. Chubby, who had secretly admired Tonnun for years, sat in the back of the truck with her. After just 2 minutes of driving, the zombies caught up. A snarling zombie driving a truck full of zombies matched their speed. As the zombies kept climbing up beside Tonnun, she screamed in fear. In a critical moment, the manager used a wire to tie up a zombie, while Chubby gave the zombie a hard shove in the rear. While driving, the village chief used one hand to strike a zombie's head. Seeing the manager and Chubby fighting back, Tonnun finally gathered the courage to electrocute a zombie, but they quickly tore through the wires and prepared to attack again. Just then, Tonnun's phone rang. The zombies were mesmerized by the singer's song and began awkwardly dancing in TikTok style. Tonnun seized the opportunity, kicked a zombie out of the car, and the village chief picked up the phone, impatiently telling the caller that the show was canceled, and then tossed the phone aside. By now, the zombies had overrun the small village. The only safe place was the tightly sealed supermarket. However, the zombie driver kept pursuing them, and they had to come up with a way to shake him off. The manager had a brilliant idea. He threw the village chief's phone at the zombie driver. The singer's music video played automatically, distracting the zombies and drawing all their attention to the phone. The group safely arrived at the supermarket, where they found the chairwoman arguing with the staff at the entrance. The manager had no time to explain and quickly dragged everyone inside. At that moment, the lucky sidekick man was outside the glass door begging for help. Seeing his wild behavior, both the manager and the village chief were hesitant to let him in, but Tonnun insisted on saving his sidekick life. Before they could argue further, Chubby opened the door and let him in. Seeing that the sidekick man hadn't mutated due to his disliking raw meat, Tonnun finally understood everything. It was her fault. She had fed the peepa ghosts meat soaked in disinfectant, which caused their mutation and created the zombies. Before she could regret it, a swarm of zombies climbed up to the glass door, reaching out hungrily for the group. The manager told everyone not to be afraid. The supermarket would close and lock its doors at 8 p.m., and the zombies wouldn't be able to get in. Little did the manager know, the secretary, who lived on the second floor, was preparing to self-destruct. The only thing that could calm him down was exercise. He had arranged for an electrician to fix the air conditioning, repeatedly telling the electrician to use the back door. By the time the agreed time had passed, the secretary hurriedly opened the back door, only to find the electrician was already torn apart. Immediately, a flood of zombies poured in through the back door, catching the manager and the others off guard. In the confusion, they became separated. Tonnun and Chubby planned to use glutinous rice to drive away the ghosts, but zombies aren't ghosts. Chubby hadn't officially become a monk yet, so all their efforts were in vain. The manager had decent combat skills but could only protect himself. The two employees were the unluckiest, nearly becoming the zombies' midnight snack. Fortunately, the muscular secretary saved them just in time, and the three of them managed to escape. The luckiest was the chairwoman, who was teamed up with the wise and calm sidekick man. Together, they used cooking oil to navigate through the horde unscathed. During the escape, Chubby was scratched by a zombie. He didn't want to hide it from Tonnun, so he tried to tell her he loves her before he mutated, and if he had to give this love a deadline, it would be now. But before he could finish, Tonnun ran off, ignoring his smelly bullshit. After his mutation, Chubby finally realized that women can't be relied on. He still had a sliver of sanity left and rushed to protect his father. Watching his son struggle with the zombies, the father felt his heart break. Tonnun, on the other hand, hid in the warehouse, mourning alone. The flower girl slowly approached her, and perhaps in the next second she would bite her, but Tonnun didn't resist. She looked as if she had accepted her fate. The manager arrived just in time and placed the zombie child in a cardboard box. He saw through Tonnun's thoughts and advised her not to think about suicide. The zombie outbreak might have something to do with her, but it was just an accident. At most, it was a case of good intentions gone wrong. He suggested that they really made a good pair. It was best to lock things down and not let Tonnun out on the market again. Under the manager's guidance, the chairwoman used a loudspeaker to play the singer's hit songs, trying to make the most of the zombies' dancing time to gather the other survivors. However, after the song played for 1/3 of its length, an ad broke in. Before the chairwoman could even subscribe to skip the ad, the dedicated zombie electrician broke the main electrical box, plunging the entire supermarket into darkness. The zombie electrician smelled meat and lunged at the village chief, offering him a ticket to hell. Meanwhile, the manager charged into the zombie horde with a fire extinguisher, saving the secretary and 2 employees. The supermarket was overrun with zombies and they needed a way out. The manager recalled the child zombie in the box and realized that the box acted like a barrier to the zombies. He stuffed everyone inside the box and rushed to the back door alone to find some means of escape. Armed with a toilet plunger and a trash can lid as a shield, he inadvertently discovered the sidekick man hiding inside a trash can. Plans didn't go as expected. The secretary's watch beeped, signaling he'd already taken 10,000 steps. The zombies were drawn to the sound, immediately breaking the box's barrier. To protect his companions, the secretary selflessly stayed behind, delaying the zombies. But the zombie horde was too large, and the 3 girls were soon forced into a dead end. The fully mutated Chubby stood at the front of the horde, charging directly toward Tonnun. At the brink of death, a melodious song rang out. The zombies' blood surged, their hearts pounded, and they all knelt, quietly listening to the song. The singer, glowing with holy light, serenely performed for this special audience. Soon, the police arrived at the supermarket and everyone was saved. But how did the singer end up here? It turned out that the village chief had invited her to make Chubby's ordination ceremony more exciting, and the phone call in the car was from the singer's agent. The village chief, impatient, canceled the show but forgot to discuss the performance fee reimbursement. Since the call hadn't ended, the singer learned the village chief was headed to the supermarket and came looking for him. She had originally planned to visit the supermarket restroom, and by coincidence, she met the sidekick man. Reluctantly, she agreed to sing a song at his invitation. Her sorrowful yet beautiful voice moved 2 employees who cried uncontrollably while holding the still secretary. Tonnun, showing her bite marks, tearfully bid farewell to the manager, and Chubby, who had bitten her, reunited with his father in a different way. The most important part was that the police cleared the scene quickly, and after finishing the song, the singer could finally go to the restroom. 28 days later, the small village became a quarantine zone. The sidekick man, who had never gained or lost anything, became the only survivor willing to be interviewed. He knew exactly why the zombie virus broke out, but he could only dance and make strange noises, unable unable to explain the details. Meanwhile, the manager quit his job and set out on a journey with his now zombified lover to find a cure for the virus. On the car, he gazed at the rose he never had the chance to give. And so the short story ends. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.